Good evening, everybody, and welcome along to PSGL Season 26. This is round number 9, and we go to Suzuka International for the Japanese Grand Prix. A really good circuit for the drivers, and it's not long before the championship is decided. My name is Jess, and joining me as per usual, we've got Dan. Hello, Dan.
Hi, Jess, and hello, everyone. Cannot wait for the Japanese Grand Prix here today. Of course, last time we came here in season 24, the current PSGL F1 Championship leader, IGK Gill, took the win, of course, in F2. So it is a historic track and has been given wins to some of the greats in PSGL.
Yeah, definitely. Suzuka has hosted the Japanese Grand Prix in all but 2 years since 1987. It was originally a test circuit and was constructed in 1962, where it mainly hosted Honda motor cars. But before we go to qualifying, let's have a quick look at the track. So the track is 5.8 kilometers long with 18 turns, and we got quite a few DRS zones for overtaking. There's only one, which means drivers have got to be on their A game today, and it's 8 to the left and 10 to the right in turns format. The DRS straight can be found at the start-finish straight after the Casio Triangle, and the first Formula 1 race was held in 1957. 3 compounded tyres used for today's race: the C3s, the C2s, and the C1s. Looking at the strategy, as you can see on your screen, we're more than likely going to be seeing softer hards used in today's race.
Well, absolutely. A lot of these guys can make soft to mediums work, though, so I would expect to see a lot of these guys go around about lap 10 onto the medium tyres, the yellow walls, of course, the C2s. So, yeah, they probably will either be split with the strategy depending on whether they get damage in the first part of the lap, first part of the Grand Prix.
Yeah, and let's look at the championship standings. So Shizu Tomato, or also known as Totsu Tomato, has automatically taken the championship lead now on the graphics, because obviously Rafa has left ages ago, but he's on 69 points now. And it's not much of a gap between Tomato and Faz. It's separated by about 5 or 6 points, so that's pretty good. So we've got Faz in second, Will in third, Greeny in fourth, Dario in fifth, Hadler 6th, Lakitu in 7th, Big C in 8th, CC Brain in 9th, Name Changer in 10th, and then we got Skivan in 11th with 11 points. We got Pat with 7 points in 12th, Emoti in 13th place with 6 points, Benny with 5 points, Bugatti with 5 points as well, Kurak's on 2 points, we've got Cedric on 1 point as well as Gonan and Compassion, and Luke yet to score. So without further ado, I think, Dan, we should go straight to this qualifying session.
Absolutely, we're already seeing some laps coming out, so what better time to go than now, of course.
Yeah, 13 minutes left to go, and I'm expecting the qualifying times to be around about the early 125s, late 124.9s potentially as well. This is a really fast circuit for these guys to manage, and this is the first qualifying sessions in a while where it hasn't been raining. We may see a different sign in the race, but no rain in qualifying, which means we will see the softs for the first time on this circuit. If you don't use the softs in qualifying, then you're going to be at a true disadvantage. Now, I do believe, I was looking at the penalties earlier on this week, and Emoti was given a penalty due to the incident he had earlier on in the race in Vietnam last week. So he got demoted to 10th place, and Big C and all the others that were behind Emoti got pushed up. But at least Emoti got 1 point at least. I'm trying to find someone on the lap, but they're probably going into the pit lane. Dario's on the lap though, 6th place in the championship, and he's not that far between some of the top guys. So he could potentially be a threat to this championship. He's still a dark horse. He's won one race this season. I wonder if he can go for another win tonight.
Of course, he won 2 weeks ago in Italy, and it was a great moment for him winning his home Grand Prix. He came late into the championship, so he's done really well to climb himself up the standings and also get settled into the league. Definitely has a really good chance. He's just begun his lap at the moment, coming down to the famous corner 1, where of course Kimi Räikkönen went around the outside of Giancarlo Fisichella. What a move that was.
Yeah, I enjoyed that, I've got to say. Japanese Grand Prix has definitely had a few moments in history. I remember Senna and Prost famously collided together, which we don't want to talk about too much. So you're now just past the S's section, and then you're now going through Donlock Curb, turn 7. Make sure the steering wheel stays level for a little bit long coming up here. Now you're going into turn 8 and 9. You just passed the Dender Curve, and you're about to head towards the hairpin. The hairpin's a great overtaking opportunity. You always get a chance to dive it in around the inside. In qualifying now, you need to take the wider outside line, just as Dario has done. And then you're going to be going onto this back straight here, full power, almost 190 miles per hour. You're heading towards Spoon Curb, takes it very, very nicely indeed. And you'll be going at almost 200 miles per hour around here as you head towards the famous 130R. I mean, these guys take it very, very brave around here. I don't know how they manage it, but some people are brave to get an overtake around here. But if they do it well, then this can make for some interesting racing. As he now goes past the Casio Triangle into the final corner. A bit skirmish on the throttle. The bump's not there now, so that is a relief for some of the drivers. And Dario goes P2 with a 125.7. Gonnanan goes fastest with a 125.5. Gonnanan's flown under the radar this season. Hasn't had much luck this season so far. The last few races have all been DNF for him. I think the last 4, I would say. Yeah, 4 races he's had a DNF to his name. Could tonight change that, do you think?
Yeah, I really do hope so, for the sake of Gonnanan's season. He's just not been on top form, unfortunately. A lot of crashes, a lot of incidences, most notably in Zandvoort, where I believe he got flipped upside down. So he's really had some bad luck. But with a 25.5 banker time, that is a really good lap from Gonnanan. Could Japan be the ace up his sleeve that he's been needing for this season entirely? Got CC Brain though, just coming towards the end of his lap. It showed up purple coming through the second sector, but this could be a nice run for CC Brain here. The Ferrari man goes third fastest with the exact same lap time as Dario in second.
Wow, that is pretty impressive, I've got to say. But if you set the same lap time, the person who said it first, which was Dario, gets the higher position. So that's why he's in second place. Times are pretty close already, I fair to say as well. Bugatti hasn't set a proper lap yet, but he's on right now as he takes a little bit of grass, heading past the Dender Curb and now into the hairpin. But at least he's still going to get a good run going in into the left curb just a little bit there. Very, very tight chicanes coming up here as well. Skivan in 18th place, hasn't set a lap yet. Neither has Big C and Luke as well. Luke is the only driver out of all the drivers that are still here, including reserves, to not receive a point. Even the one that filled in for him last week, Shapalili, got a point in his place. So Luke needs to probably have a wake-up call this season for the rest of the season to see if he can get that point. Don't forget, he missed a few races this season due to the fact that his wheel unfortunately decided to break, so he had to get a new one. But he's chosen the right time to have his wheel work fine, because this is a wheel track, isn't it?
Yeah, this track just really suits the way that the wheel works, with all the fast S's as well. So it is really beneficial to have a wheel, and we'll probably see that. Red Bull right now 1 and 2 on the grid, a front row lockout for them. We haven't seen that in a long time in real F1, but Luke looking quite tidy on his lap at the moment. He's just coming up towards Spoon Curb just at the end of the second sector. Let's see how he takes it. He goes down into 5th gear, then puts up into 6th, down to 3rd. I wouldn't go that low, but it seemed to have worked for him. And now up onto this back straight where, of course, the figure of 8 takes place. You go over the exit of Degner 2, I believe it is. So it's the only circuit on the F1 calendar that is a figure of 8. But now in towards Casio Triangle here. Luke has looked pretty clean on this lap. 2nd gear, not normally what most drivers would take. I'd take it in 3rd. But now up towards the line. Here he goes to cross the line. It's 12th position for Luke with just into the 1 minute 26 and the 26.0 there.
Yeah, the gap between him and first place, only 4 attempts. So maybe we need to try and find time in the second sector, and he probably would have been in the top 10 somehow, maybe in the top 5 as well. So not a bad lap time so far as well. Greeny is down in 18th place. Skeven has gone into the pit, so he wasn't happy with this lap. What about Big C as he goes past the hairpin and into Spoon now as well? Big C was in the top 10 of the championship in terms of the graphic sense. Well, technically he still is, because most of the guys have left. So he's 8th in the standings right now. He's looking to keep on this top 10 form as he heads into this race. He seems to be pretty confident. He hopes it's not going to rain for this week, and he's always aiming for top 10 as Dario almost blocked Connor on his lap there. And the final chicane has proved to be a lot difficult for Connor. He takes it not too bad at the moment though. It goes into P17, but then someone beats him and drops him down into P18. But again, still everyone quite close. It's all to play for here.
Yeah, that was Greeny LFC finishing up on his lap. He went 1.7 seconds quicker, so he did really well on that one. Up into third position for him. He's not too far off second place right now of Name Changer, but Goddard seems to be almost on another level. He's got 500 of a second between him and his teammates, so I did actually read the gaps wrong. But still, really good performance from the man there. So just coming up towards the second sector split, he's improving on his time. He could be on pole today.
Yeah, a few other guys could potentially be on pole as well. I mean, a lot of people looking really fast at this stage. I think the last time qualifying was that close was obviously the first race of the season in Austria. That was pretty close. Pretty much the top 18 was separated by 8 tenths. We could see the same today, and we haven't even got someone into the 124s yet. The top 3 separated by not even a tenth. Even the top 5 is pretty much close as well. So I would probably seem to suggest that since they're going so quick already, maybe that they got dry setups on and it might be a dry race, but we'll have to wait and see, of course. We don't get a glimpse of the weather, only the drivers do. Dario and CC Brain still setting the same lap time at the moment, but I wonder who's going to break out of this at the moment. Skivan out again to try and set a lap time, as someone has gone even faster. Gone in again at 125.385. He means business. He's showing that he doesn't want to get any more DNFs. He wants to start as high on the grid as he possibly can. And same with Name Changer. Name Changer has got multiple, pretty much, he only got 1 pole this season. I can't remember when he got the pole position, but he hasn't converted that pole into a win. I think he got it in Spain. So, and this is quite a similar track to Spain, but obviously you have more overtaking opportunity. The track temperature is pretty much almost the same, but you can do soft to hard around here. So, yeah, I'm excited to see what Golonen can do. And on Tomato, only in 3rd place. Don't forget, he's a championship leader. He is only a few points clear of Faz in 2nd place. If Faz has a good result, or even Will or Greeny, then it may be curtains for Tomato. So this championship is getting ever so tight already as we head to almost the last third of the season.
Yeah, well, it looked like Raffle was going to win the championship, but when he decided to leave the league, it pretty much blew the championship wide open, and now it could turn into a 3-car fight for it. Of course, Will in that fray as well. He's in 19th at the moment, but only a second off the lead of pole time. Sorry, he doesn't need to find too much to actually gain anything at the moment. We've got some drivers coming out for their final laps. Only 3 minutes left in the session. I watched Iamotti go off at Dunlop curb, so that will put an end to his qualifying. But now up towards 130R, he actually had a bit of a spin almost out of spoon, so he's really not having a good time around the circuit. I hope that doesn't mean anything for his race today.
I think having the penalty he got from the stewards last week has probably set him up for failure, but he's got to remember to forget about that mindset, and he invalidated just after the Casio triangle as well, so that's not good. But knowing him, Emotti is going to do all he can to try and climb himself up the order. Don't forget, in the constructors battle, I do believe it's Williams that are still leading with 141 points, but Renault and Ferrari are not too far behind, so if Williams don't get their act together and continue the form that they had at the beginning of the season, then they can lose it towards the end there. And it's not about where you start in the championship, it's where you finish in the championship. And speaking of one of the Renaults, Faz goes out of the pit lane and he is going on the soft tyres. Everybody on the soft tyres. Unfortunately, Skivan has retired from the session, and I think he just didn't want to set a lap, I believe. So he will be starting at the back of the grid. But around Suzuka, I don't think it's too bad to start at the back of the grid due to the fact that turn 1 is quite fast.
Yeah, there's also a lot of opportunities for other drivers to have incidences. So if you're starting towards the back, you might be out of trouble there. So yeah, it might be a smart move, but then the alternate strategy isn't too strong around this circuit. But it really is crunch time for these drivers. If you're not out on circuit right now, which is the case for name changer Cedric Hadler, that means you're probably not going to get a lap in unless you somehow go lightning speed around on your outlap. I wouldn't expect that from them, though. So name changer looks like he's not going to improve on his position. He won't have a chance at pole, but it is crunch time. They're all on their outlaps or on a lap at the moment. So it is just about hooking up the perfect lap to challenge the pole.
One person on their flying lap as well is Kurat, another driver yet to score many points this season. Kurat only on 2 points. He got 2 points in Hungary, and that was round 2. He hasn't got any points since then. He was close to getting some points in a few of the races, actually, but unfortunately he got a bit too unlucky in Silverstone and in the Netherlands, but then the other races he had a DNF. Another person not able to set a final lap is Cedric. He is in 10th, so at the moment he'll be starting on the softs unless someone outside the top 10 can beat him. Can Kurat be the one that gets out of the top 5 and then into the top 4, 3, 2, even pole position? He's looking pretty quick on his final lap, so let's see what he can do. 1:25.5, that puts him into P2 already. That's really gonna not help Tomato's chances at the moment, but he's 1/10 up on his previous best in sector 1. I didn't see if it was purple or not. I don't think it was purple, so he's got to get a move on. Dario comes across the line in a P2. Kurat is not going to set another lap time. I'm just waiting to see who else is going to come across the line. We've got, I believe, one of the Haas cars, I think, about to cross the line. And we got a Mercedes as well. Bugatti going through 130 out into the Casio Triangle. Big C improves to 4th position. Here's one of his best qualifying results of the season. Remember the pre-season race, he did really well as well. He got a podium in that. Bugatti, his teammate, comes across the line into P13. What about Gonnen? He's on pole at the moment. He's going through Spoon, but his teammate is a little bit further on a lap, and his time is glitchy for me as he's still finishing a lap apparently. But Tomato, he comes across the line. He's fastest. Greeny, he's coming towards the final few corners now. There's everyone that's improving their time. There is the calm before the storm here today. Greeny, a 1:25.6 for him. That puts him into 9th place. I think that's it, apart from Mimotti, maybe he can find some time. Sector 2, he was 1/10 up on his previous best. He improved quite a lot here as he goes through towards the Casio Triangle. I don't think it will be enough to get pole, even beat his teammate, but there's only one way to find out, and it puts him in 11th place. So that just leaves Kurat, who I think is going into the pits, and Name Changer. I don't know why Name Changer is glitching out. Maybe it may be a glitch with the timing systems. We don't know, but well, Tomato has stopped Gonnen from getting a potential 1-2 for the Red Bull driver, and Name Changer has invalidated. So that is qualifying session done and dusted.
Yeah, I was a little bit confused with that final run from Name Changer. I thought the flag dropped at the time, but he just put it in the wall, right? Well, that is one way to end qualifying from him, but I could have sworn that the flag had dropped by the time that he started his lap. So Codemasters do have to fix this, unless my eyes were playing tricks on me, which is pretty entirely possible. I don't have the best eyesight in the world. But Tomato, the championship leader, on pole position. The top 3 separated by 1/10 of a second.
That is amazing. I wasn't expecting Japan to be this close, but that's probably going to shape up to be another cracking race. We've had a lot of cracking races this season in F2. I've been enjoying every minute of it. Look at that. Top 14 separated by 3 attempts, and the top 5 separated by 2 attempts. That's just crazy. But let's look at your order. We got Tomato in first, Gonnen in second, Faz, Tomato's nearest championship rival, in third, Dario in fourth, Kurat in fifth, Benny in sixth, Big C in seventh, last week's race winner, Will, only in 8th place at the moment, Greeny in 9th, Name Changer in 10th, then we got Motti in 11th, Hadler 12th, Pat in 13th, CT Brain 14th, Cedric 15th, Bugatti 16th, Luke in 17th, Compassion in 18th, and Lakita in 19th, with Skivan not setting a lap time. And the top 19 separated by not even a second, 7/10 of a second, Dan.
Honestly, I've never seen such a close qualifying session probably in my life, especially around Japan, where it's so easy to make mistakes. It's a really fast-flowing circuit that you have to be pinpoint accurate. And look at the sky, nice and blue with some clouds probably won't play havoc, so I think we're going to have a dry race.
Yeah, I think it is actually. Well, it looks like we are going to be getting a dry race, which is probably a relief. I think we may only be getting dry races for most of it. I think we had a dry race in Vietnam as well. Tomato wasn't expecting pole by the looks of things. He was just expecting to potentially aiming for a podium. He even said in qualifying it was aiming for top 15. Well, he got higher than top 15 in this qualifying, and I think he was aiming for top 15 in the race as well, mainly because I think he was getting bad luck recently, and he was saying that if he set the expectations low, then probably he will score even higher, but that is probably helping. His last win was in Zandvoort. He's only win this season in Zandvoort. I think a few rounds ago, Vietnam he finished in 8th place, and in Italy he finished in 5th place, and he hasn't been outside the top 10 as well, so that just shows the consistency from Toxic right now, but his teammate will probably need to climb up there as well. But looking at the tyre strategies at this moment in time, we've got everyone outside the top 10 on the mediums except for one man, and that is PSGL F2 veteran Skivan on the hard compounder tyres. The hards are not usually the best race tyre to start on, but he's probably going for the alternate strategy. He may have seen other drivers do it in other races and see it pay off, PSGL F1 being one of them. But I think around this track, it's probably not the best, but probably Skivan can prove himself wrong. And if he gets involved in trouble, he can go back to either a soft to medium strategy or a medium to soft strategy. So he's probably expecting things that we're not, but everyone outside the top 10 apart from him on the medium tyres. So more than likely, the majority of them outside the top 10 are going to be doing soft to hards or soft to mediums.
Yeah, it's interesting with Skivan, considering it's going to be really difficult to generate heat on the C1 tyres, the hardest tyre of every single tyre in the F1 ecosystem, so to say. But starting in last position, he has nothing to lose and everything to gain. So why not take a risk on the strategy and be quicker much towards the end of the race? It can pay off for him. I would probably say that the mediums to soft strategy is better, but I guess you just have to be different to really make a strategy pay off, so I guess.
Yeah, and I'm just looking at the pole time as well from last season. The time we were here was season 24. They smashed that pole time. It was a 1:27.2, and it was set by TGG Forbes, now Caden Forbes, to you and me. And we smashed it by like 3 seconds. So it just goes to show the game is a lot faster. We could see a much faster race time as everybody is about to approach the grid. A lot of these guys at the front are going to be on cold tyres, so they're going to hope that people make it into their grid slots as quickly as they possibly can. Welcome to PSGL F2. For those of you that just joined us, let us know who you're rooting for in the chat. Who do you think is going to win this race? The last drive of the day was one of the Ferrari drivers. I wonder who's going to be driver of the day and who's going to win this race as well. Soft to hard seems like the most common strategy for these drivers according to AWS. But anyway, the 5 red lights are on here in Japan, and it is lights out, and away we go. And Golan's got a really good start into turn 1 already, probably better than Toxic, but Toxic getting a better run on the left hand side into turn 1 as they all make through the swooping almost into the S section. Now the start of the S section coming up here. We got the ASM point going side by side with Dario. Kurat stays in 4th position. Faz trying to defend Fun Kurats for 3rd place on to the podium, but no real mistakes from a majority of these guys. Meanwhile, I think we've had I don't think we've had many incidents so far. Skivan staying out of trouble as well. We got Bugatti and Cedric going side by side just past the dead in the curve and now into turn 8. But Hadler stays in 14th and Bugatti has to settle for P15. But Tomato and Golan has had a really good start.
Absolutely, it seems to all sort of held space at the moment. We've got Benny and Greeny going side by side at the moment through this long swooping back straight here up towards Spoon Club, where of course Verstappen and Vettel crashed in 2018. Looks like Green's come out on top in that one after he dug up the inside of the hairpin. He's finally made that move to pay off, and now he's into 6th position. Nice little tussle between those two, but it's been a really good start for the top drivers at the moment. Everyone from the top 3 have all stayed in the same position. Greeny's made up 3 spaces off the start, so once again, good start in F2 for him.
Greely's been getting a lot more podiums recently. He's had a P3 in Belgium, a P3 in Zandvoort, and a P3 in Vietnam, but he didn't get a P3 in Italy. He got P8. He got very, very unlucky at the moment. So luckily, he's the one who usually likes to climb up the order, and he usually likes to do the alternate strategy, but he's not doing it at the moment. He's on the soft compound tyres as the times keep changing ever so slightly, so I'm not sure who's where at the moment, but all we know is Tomato is in the lead and Golden still, I believe, is in P2. Yes, he is. He's having a... I don't want to jinx him too much because every time I jinx him, he goes in the wall. So he's just doing well, let's just say that, in a P2. I think he did the right thing, qualifying high up, and he's battling with the likes of Tomato, and they used to battle in previous games. Golden used to be high up there as well, so it's great to see him back on form. Don't forget Blizzard as well in the Trovo Cup. It was nice seeing him back on form as well. He seems to be fast on this game. I think we're seeing the same with Golden here today. I'm glad that he's fighting with the big guns on this big stage, the second highest tier on PS4.
Yeah, absolutely. He's doing a stellar job at the moment, of course. Don't want to get too excited about it because everything can change in a heartbeat. But he is gaining on Toxic Tomato. With DRS being enabled the next lap, he can maybe try and make a move into turn number 1, of course. He won't have it for this time by, but it will be soon. He can have his opportunity. A little bit of a bad run through the Casio Triangle could play havoc for him later on in the Grand Prix and help out Toxic Tomato once they get to the kind of crossover point, so to say, with the mediums and the softs.
Yeah, exactly. Golden, I think that's one advantage maybe of having one DRS straight if you are the leader of the train, because then you're going to have less time defending and more chance to actually try and get stay in the P1, and then you're going to be saving more ERS, in fact, as well. But speaking of ERS, Golden has less ERS than Tomato, and that's proven my theory perfectly. Golden has been forced to use more ERS to try and stay on and to the cusp of Tomato at the back as well. Faz also in that train too. Kurat, Dario, Greeny, we're going to be in danger that these guys from second down to 20th, they're not going to just be able to make the move. They're all so close. No one has gone into the pitch yet. We've had no first lap dramas. This is just, I don't know, this is the new PSGL F2. Are we seeing the new guys jump in? Only joking. They're doing very well. They've been in F2 for quite a long time this season. They're getting used to the way this track handles, and I think a lot of guys are preferring this track on this game compared to the last game. The majority of these guys on the wheel, but there are a few people on the pad. I would like to see who is actually on the pad on this grid to see how they're coping, but they seem to be coping very, very well, as we can see. Golden, I don't think he's going to get the move on Tomato. I keep calling him Toxic, but he's not. It's Tomato now, but Tomato, I think, had a little bit late on the brakes there. That's given Golden a chance to catch up. You've got to be around about 2 attempts to try and get the move, but there's a lot of dirty air around this track, and the tyre temperatures around the softs is going to be very tricky, as we've got a yellow flag, and it's Cedric who's binned it. I think it's almost the same place that Lacey binned it in 96 by the looks of things, and his tyres are not very good, and that's his right front wing almost gone, so we'll have to dive it into the pit. If I was him, probably go onto the hard compounded tyres and then go on the softs to the end.
Yeah, really unfortunate for Cedric there, considering he's not running in a bad position and he's not had the best season so far, so it's not going to help his confidence that he's put it in the wall. I don't know what happened. He might have had an incident with someone else, but it is really unfortunate, and that's all I know, that he has unfortunately lost his front wing. Gollanen still on the back of Tomato, but he's used up a lot of his ERS, and if need be, Tomato can just use all of that up on the straight and then get away from him and defend his position. But last time around, last lap, Gollanen went really deep into the brakes through this corner and actually lost him a lot of time. He seemed to have got a much better run this time by, but again, a much better exit from Tomato. Probably won't be close enough to make an opportunity of rise here, and into turn number 1 they go now. Has he got the run? No, he's not.
No, but he almost went for a move there. Maybe in the next lap, if Gollanen can stay behind Tomato, then he could get him, but he's getting even closer, and that's allowing Gollanen to increase the gap between him and Faz, his nearest rival, in P3. 3. Fads is out of DRS range, so he's going to be under pressure with the bigger DRS train coming up from Kurax, Dario, Greeny, Benny, Big C, Will, Name Changer, Emotti, Pat, CC Brain, Hadler, Bugatti, Luke, Compassion, Lakitu, and maybe Skivan, but Skivan's a few seconds down the road, mainly because he's on the hard compounded tyres, but watch him out at the end of the race. He's probably going to be even quicker so far. I think we're seeing an Austria and situation where they just can't, some of these guys just can't overtake yet due to the DRS just being so powerful on this track, but they've just got to possibly try and make a move into Spoon Curve or maybe into the hairpin. That's what I would try anyway, due to the lack of DRS straights. We're going to see if Golinen's closer up this lap. His DRS is around about 20%, whereas Tomato's on 47. So if he wants to make the move, he's got to make it now. But he stays behind again. He's getting even closer. Golinen's doing the right thing, saving his ERS until the start finish straight. But Tomato is getting better straight line speed here. And Golinen only being a few attempts down on his previous best. He's using it overtake. He wants to get the move here. Let's see if he can get the move into turn 1. Tomato close to the door there. And Golinen was running out of ERS as well on the straight. So that's him out of contention for P1 at the moment. But Skivan is out of the race. Has he retired in the pit lane. So I don't know quite what happened there. Maybe he just had enough, I don't know. But did you see what happened?
No, from what it looks like, I've been watching with Tomato and Golinen, and it's just him. He's just gone into the pits, it seems. And unfortunately, that's his race over. He's not had a good season so far. He's given a lot of DNFs for him. And unfortunately, he's going to have to wait until China, at the very least, to get a good result out of this season. But Golinen and Tomato, have actually broken up the ERS of Faz, who's about to just jump back into the 1 second window that he needs 1,000 on those guys. But he just can't get it, and that will leave him vulnerable to Kurax, who seems to be a little bit way down the road. So they're all seemingly spreading out a little bit at the top. They're still tight, compacted though, in the midfield, as always.
And Faz could potentially get into that detection zone towards 130R now. He's got to stay within. I think he just missed it, unfortunately. He was around about 9 attempts in range for 130R, but I think he just lost a bit of power potentially as well. I don't know. Maybe he lost a bit of confidence, but maybe he can get it very, very soon indeed. Let's see. It is round 2 for Golinen, but again, he just can't get past him at this stage. But some great racing between the top 2 right now, but it's not doing good on their tyres, I've got to say. Don't forget, I think a majority of these guys, I thought they were going to do soft to hards because they would probably pit around about lap 6 to 8. Some of these guys were probably going to be doing soft to medium. We're going to see mixture strategies around Japan. In Japan last game, I think a lot more people did either mediums to hard or soft to hards, but we could see a bit of a mixture, and it just goes to show who is going to manage their tyres the most, and that is who's going to win that race. As Golinen has got a penalty, and that can come back to bite him during this race. I don't think Tomato has any penalties. Yeah,
and his teammate, his Red Bull teammate, Nathan, is coming to the pits. He's the first of the soft runners to take off the Red Bull tyres. Now he is on the mediums, so 20 laps on those. It will be a challenge for him to get to the end, but with the undercut, he can close up to them at the front and then just save tyres later on in the Grand Prix, because it is pretty tricky at some points of the circuit to get by. Meanwhile, Dario on his IGK teammate Kurax right now. Will he try and send a move into the Casio Triangle? Doesn't look like it. Seems like there's mutual respect between the, of course, same esports teammates. So they're going to just hang by each other. 4th and 5th would be a good result for them, so I wouldn't see them in any rush. But Big C now coming to the pits as well. So it looks like the softs are beginning to run out.
Oh, Dario almost made a move there on Kurax, but again, Kurax closed the door just like Golinen did, Tomato did to Golinen earlier on as well. But yeah, I did see the pit window open for Dario, so he's probably going to come in next lap. It did say that he's opting for the medium compounded tyres, the same as Big C, so that is probably the most common strategy for all these guys now. I thought it would be soft to hards, but looking back, soft to mediums could work. It can get to the end of this Grand Prix. 7 to 18 laps those medium tyres last, and they could, their tyres could last the distance. So it is possible for these guys. Last game they wouldn't be able to do that, but in this game they can. And most of these guys will probably do it very, very well indeed. But yeah, I've got to agree. I think a majority of the esports teams in any of the leagues probably share mutual respect between each other as well. But it's also about helping your constructor teammate as well. You know, you don't want to let your teammate, you don't want to let leave your teammate in the championship in the dust, really. As we can see, Dario making a move just before 130R, and he gets the job done before we get to the Casio Triangle. Incredible. Dario is up into 4th place and only 9/10 behind Kurats. Oh, he made a mistake there. That cost him a little bit. Kurats, I think, is going to get... No, he's not. Kurats is going into the pits.
I think I actually saw Kurats go into the back of Dario there, and he had to cut the chicane entirely. And he got a 5-second penalty for that. Now he's in second position, as we got some more drivers coming into the pit lane. Medium tyres going on for all of them, except for Faz going on to the hards. Hard tyres for Faz.
Well, to be honest, the pit window for the mediums is 9 to 10. So for some of these guys, they're going a little bit earlier. But I know Faz will make it to the end, and the hards won't be under much pressure at the end. So maybe this could work for Faz, or it could come back to bite him. But the ones on the mediums, they'll probably have to save a bit of their tyres for the first few laps. And then when it gets to the end of the race, that is when they can start pushing. Don't forget, the pit stop loss around here is around about 21 seconds. So they lose a chunk of time. Pretty much, I think, a few seconds. I think Silverstone is probably the most time loss you can lose in the pit lane. Suzuka being, I think, on the next. I think there's some others, but I'm not entirely sure. Dario getting another penalty as well. And I've noticed the undercut being powerful on this game more than others. I tried it on most tracks, and majority of them seem to have worked, apart from a couple. Usually, I think, if you don't get the undercut, then it probably will come back to bite you right now. But Tomato, he's probably going to have to pit, doesn't he? Because Gonanen pitted earlier on. And yes, Tomato goes into the pit lane. No speeding penalty for him. He's going to have no danger getting held up, unlike some of his rivals. Greeny getting a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. So I'm guessing the speed limit is a lot different in Suzuka than other tracks, as onto the medium tyres he goes for Tomato, and that's definitely going to make it until the end of this Grand Prix. Greeny does the same, so does Benny, and so does Dario. Let's see what Gonanen... Oh, it's going to be very, very close. Gonanen's going to get a fantastic run into turn 1, and Gonanen takes the lead of this race. And I did say the undercut would be powerful around here, and in most of the tracks on this game, and Gonanen has just proved my theory. Well done, Gonanen.
The exact same thing happened in real F1 with a Red Bull car of Max Verstappen going around the outside of Kimi Raikkonen as he came out of the pits, and Gonanen timed that to perfection. The undercut has worked for the Red Bull driver. He is now in the lead of the Grand Prix, the net lead, of course. All the medium runners ahead of them have to come into the pits, but of course we can't forget Gonanen does have a 3-second time penalty, so he's going to have to stretch what he's got against Tomato later on in the Grand Prix, and then and hopefully he can snatch that win.
I wasn't expecting him to get it right down to a T, but it's very important if you want to get the undercut right that your in-lap has got to be really, really fast as well, because otherwise the danger is the guy that has pitted a lap later and you could get the position. But it is not over for Tomato. He's still around about 6/10 behind Gonanen, so anything can happen, and Tomato looking pretty good as well. It'll just be interesting to compare the lap times between Gonanen and Tomato towards the end of this race. But due to the fact that Tomato is going to be on fresher tyres compared to Gonanen, then Tomato is probably going to be in a much better shape than Gonanen in the final few laps of this race. But Gonanen needs to pull away, because otherwise he's going to lose probably potential podium, and he's probably going to pressurise a few other guys to maybe make a mistake to try and get penalties as well. Maybe try and force Tomato into a mistake as well. I've done that a few times around Japan as well, and sometimes it works, sometimes it does not. So all that left for people to pit are the ones on the alternate strategy. All the top 8, not on the net lead, but on track, they still yet to pit. They've been on the mediums for the whole race, and they'll most likely try and get those mediums to around about lap 17, 18 before going on to the soft compounder tyres. It's easy doable for them, and Imotti is leading that train right now. 6/10 per second separate him and his old IGK teammate, Pat. He left the IGK yesterday, and he's looking to make amends here today. And I wonder, this is going to be interesting. Current IGK team, IGK compatriot versus previous. I wonder how Pat's going to handle this one.
Oh yeah, now coming up towards turn number 1, it's going to be an easy move sailing around, down the inside on the right hand side of the track. Easy move for Pat. He can't have any defense. EMRT there, so he's just going to have to stick behind Pat. He didn't want to fight that too much, but he maybe could have held the inside line, and that would have given him ideal. Meanwhile, here goes Tomato gone into the net lead. I just caught that right at the end. And now it is Tomato back into the lead of the race. The net lead, of course, P9 on track right now, but now crucially for Gononen, he's just got to stick in that DRS and maybe try and save up the ERS once the lap continues, and of course they get later on into the Grand Prix, and just hope that Tomato makes a mistake somewhere and maybe gets a penalty.
The gap between Gononen and Kurat is around about 3 seconds now, so if these two keep battling too much, the danger is Kurat could catch up to them. So if I was Kurat, I'll be asking Jeff about the penalties, and that'll probably be an excuse towards the end to keep pushing. You don't want to keep pushing now because there is a worry that your tyres won't make it to the end, but you're probably going to be focusing on your laps at the moment. But then when it gets towards the end, then ask Jeff, are you getting close to that 3-second buffer that you need to get P2 on track? But I don't know if Kuras has got a penalty. I'm not entirely sure. There's a few people that have got 5-second stock goes, which will either have to serve if they get damage, or they will have to be added until the end of the race. Guarini getting one, and I can't remember who else got one as well, so that could play a factor to see who's going to gain whatever positions in this Grand Prix. We're already almost halfway in this race already. Time does fly by. Meanwhile, CC Brain got the move in around the outside again on Imoti. A lot of people making a move around the outside into turn 1 like Gononen did earlier on, and Tomato. I mean, they're taking a lot of risks, and for the majority of them, it's definitely paying off.
Absolutely, we're seeing everyone getting a little bit more racy at the moment. P1 Will is moving into the nets at P3 at the moment. He's doing really well in this race. Kind of gone under the radar, but he started quite far down the order, and he just worked the tyres so well. He's pretty rapid on this medium stint, and unfortunately, the gamble has not worked out for Faz. He's losing position, and he's now going to be at the mercy of Greeny LFC for P13 on track right now. I believe it's P5 once everyone else, all the medium runners, come to pit, which I don't think that their pit window is going to be too far adrift. I think maybe 3 to 4 more laps on these medium tyres, that'll be their sweet spot to come to the pit. So it's just a case of saving the tyres at the moment, and then trying to go as early as possible, and then running the softs to the end, getting the undercut on everyone else.
I'll be worried if I was in Faz's situation, because Faz is in second in the championship, and he's going to be in absolute danger for losing P2 in the championship from Will. The gap between Will and Faz is 12 points at this moment in time. So Will could potentially close the gap even more. He closed the gap last week after winning the race. He can close the gap even more if he beats Faz on track today. But don't forget about penalties, of course. We're still seeing Greeny right on the back of Faz at the moment. Better straight line speed, I think, from Faz, so that is why Greeny is not going to get the edge that he would have liked, as also Faz has got DRS from IGK Kurats in 12th place on track at the moment. Don't forget, Faz is on the hard side. You would expect Greeny to make the move pretty soon, but he's just not going to at this stage. But I think Greeny is probably going to have to take a few risks if he wants to get the position from Faz. But he's getting even closer past the Dunlop curves now, so potentially he could get it done through the hairpin into turn 10 and 11, coming up in a second, just past the Fanatec Bridge, just past turn 9, and now heading towards turn 10 and 11. Let's see, Greeny is going to get the left-hand side. It's such a little bit. This is for position, remember, but don't forget Greeny has got a 5-second stop go penalty that he has to take at the end of this race. A little bit of touch again from Greeny and Faz, but Greeny gets position, and he's now got to try and make sure that he gets rid of that 5-second deficit. His next rival now is Kurat in 12th place on track, only 9/10 down the road.
Yeah, it was a great move from Greeny LFC there. He had the superior grip on the medium tyres, slightly fresher than Faz's hard. should be an easy move. But of course, the hairpin, he went from a long way back, and it actually paid off perfectly for him. So now he's just outside the DRS, but I think he was in for it during the detection zone. So he's actually going to have the DRS down the straight. That will allow him to catch up to Kurak and Will for P3 at the moment. He's in 5th on the net, of course, but he wants to make up more and get ahead of them, and of course build that 5-second deficit. And
yellow flag, Benny. Oh, it's Big C and Benny. Benny went off in turn 1. I didn't quite see what happened, but I did see Big C and Benny's name go down massively at the moment. So I can't tell what happened. But I'm just going to see if Big C's got damage. He might have got away with major damage, but I think... No, Big C's fine. I think Benny has got off much worse, I think, at the moment. Actually, no. I don't know. It's impossible to tell as it's getting not as sunny as it was at the beginning of the race. But I think it's just they both had a little bit of a spin and maybe they caused their tyres to lock up. I don't know. Hopefully we'll see from their POVs at the end to find out what happens, because they usually like to send the highlights of the race, and maybe that will be what might have happened, but that's not worked well for Big C. I think he's going to potentially be in risk of not gaining any points this race. Bugatti, his teammate though, getting a 5-second penalty as well. He pits, as well as Pat, Emotti, CC Brain as well. Luke, they go onto the soft compound tyres, and a bit earlier than I thought it was going to be. Let me just get the strategy up. 17 to 18 laps, a lap earlier, so everybody wanted the undercut, but it looks like they're all trying to go for the undercut, but it didn't work because they all pitted roughly about the same time, apart from 3 guys, Hadler, Compassion, and Lakitu. They'll be probably pitting next lap though, so that should be intriguing. The leading soft runner is Pat, I believe, so Pat getting a very good pit stop and managed to beat CC Brain. We got another yellow flag, and that is Big C's teammate, Bugatti, yeah. I think almost similar place. Got to move out of the way. Luckily, he's ghosted, though.
Yeah, it seems to really be going downhill for the Mercedes team. 5-second time penalty also coming Bugatti's way, and of course the incident with Benny from Big C. We'll probably see that in his highlights. I always like to watch them after the Grand Prix, so we'll probably see that in them, and we might see a skills report. So if there is one, then we will definitely report it next race, of course, in the commentary box.
Yeah, we always like to keep an eye on penalties. We haven't had many so far this season. I think we had a few in Danville, I believe. Quite a few in Danville, actually. I was surprised that we didn't get many in Vietnam, but that was great to see. But a majority of the racing in Vietnam was very clean last week, so well done to them. And I think majority of them are keeping it very clean on track as well. Meanwhile, more people going into the pits, which means Tomato is now your net race leader and also on track as well. And Gonan is 5 tenths from Tomato. Now the gap between Gonan and Will is 3.7 seconds. Will has got to find 6 tenths to try and get P2 in this race. Kurak, though, could be in danger and under threat as well. Maybe again the podium as well. He's around about 5 tenths behind Will too. He could be on for his best finish of the season if he could keep away from incidents. Oh, that was almost a mistake there, but luckily he saved it just in time. We got another yellow flag. That is, I don't know. Oh, it's another Mercedes. Who's that? Oh, it's Bugatti again. Oh, I think he just lost it on his own, didn't he?
Yeah, it has to be. He's really just not having a good time after such a good performance last week in Vietnam. It just really hasn't paid out for him. Meanwhile, we didn't actually see this, but CC Brain got ahead of Pat now, and he is now the leading soft runner and will be, of course, the hunter now against all the prey up ahead. Name changer will be the first of those. So how long will it take for the soft runner, fresh soft of CC Brain, to dispatch his name changer? Don't tell me he's going to go around the outside.
Oh now, my God.
130 up, holding no, into the corner they go. He somehow made it work. That is a long time.
Wow.
And CC Brain makes the position, and there goes Pat up the inside of name changer. 2 corners, 2 positions lost for name changer, and that is brilliant from both of the soft runners there.
Who says you can't overtake in 130R? That was absolutely incredible from CC Brain right now. If it's not a contender for driver of the day, the ones who have done the polls will have a few explaining to do if he doesn't. I mean, That was insane. Well done, CC Brain, and well done to Pat and Name Changer for keeping it clean as well. That was absolutely an incredible scenes at the moment. They could be on for good points as well, CC Brain and Pat. I wonder if we'll see more of the soft runners or even more of the medium runners try for that same move. And Bugatti has retired from the session. He's had enough. He's retired in the pit lane. And that makes our second retirement. We only had 2 retirements so far this race. So that is not too bad. I was expecting a bit more. But at least everyone is still having a good race so far. Cedric's still going, even though he's around about 20 seconds behind his nearest rival of Benny. But I wonder if CC Brain is going to go for a similar move around Dario, but I'm guessing Dario's not going to be too easy to pass, I must say. But if CC Brain could do it on Pat and Name Change, he could possibly do it on that. Meanwhile, Tomato and Gonanen going for exactly the same thing. Oh my god, I can't believe I missed that. Gonanen went round the outside as well. Jesus Christ, Gonanen is now your race leader. And Name Changer's gone off, I think. Where's Name... Oh, no, it's not Name Changer. It was someone else anyway. There was so much happening in the space of a few corners, and there was lots of battling going on as well. Tomato right on the back of Gonanen again. This race battle for the lead is going to go right to the bitter end, or very end actually. CC Brain making a move on Pat, Gonanen making the move on Tomato. Gonanen has got to have his sight on the win now, even with that 3-second penalty. He's got to make sure he's faster than Tomato every single lap now.
Yeah, he's just got to put out a gap, and really, he's just got to keep the pace and keep it clean. He doesn't want to get any more penalties that can hamper him in the race. But CC Brain's still catching up to Dario at the moment. He is now closer than he was before last lap, so we could see another move through 130R if we are lucky. But into the hairpin they go. He's not close enough to make a move on the Alfa Romeo driver. Of course, that would have been ludicrous if he went from that far back. He's only 3/10 back though, so this is definitely an overtaking opportunity. But the gap's still coming down at the lead. Could we see Toxic Tomato or just Shizou Tomato go for a move now?
Well, he's not as brave as Gonanen going through 130R at the moment, or even CC Brain, but he may try it through the Casio Triangle. Is he going to go for a last-minute lunch? Nope, he hasn't even got the overtake button on, so he's not going to go for a move. And I think he's getting closer now. This is going to be very, very intense as well. CC Brain makes the move on Dario. CC Brain is up another position. I think it was him who got... I need to actually check. I think he was one of the drivers in contention for driver of the day last week, and I do believe he got it. Yeah, he did. CC Brain did get driver of the day last week. Could we see 2 from 2 getting driver of the days? We'll have to wait and see, but you know, CC Brain is definitely looking racy at the moment. Compassion gets past Luke into turn 1, and Compassion could potentially still get some points this race. He's not too far off his nearest rival of Emotti as well, Compassion, and Name Changer, of course, too. And Gonanen is starting to stretch the gap between him and Tomato just past the hairpin now. Tomato's found a bit more speed on the hairpin. So Gonanen, if it stays as it is, if he can keep this pace, he can finish no worse than P2, and that will still be an amazing achievement. Before this race, he only scored 1 point. He can climb up a lot of positions in this championship if he can either get the win or get P2, and that can help out his Red Bull team out massively in the constructors, and potentially maybe aim for P8 or even, P8 in the championship, maybe beat McLaren. We do have a yellow flag, that is Big C. Both of the Mercedes out of this race. Where did he go off? And we got a safety car. This has turned it on his head a lot. That's come out. Good time for both the leaders, Gonanen and Tomato. If I was... Oh, no!
No.
I just jinxed Gonanen. Gonanen has got a 5-second penalty. Tomato didn't. Tomato was kept it clean there. Both going on the soft side. Dario is gambling and saying out. Oh my goodness, this has worked really well for CC Brain, but I would have pitted if I was CC Brain. But yeah, he's going to find it difficult to manage the softer tyre runners who are on fresher tyres than him. This can turn the race directly on his head right now, but I didn't see where Big C went off actually, but it must have been a nasty shunt. But I'm excited to see how this rest of this race is going to unfold. We haven't seen a safety car in F2 in absolutely ages.
Yeah, and just word to mention, it was Dunlop curb. Unfortunately, that big
Oh,
feet went off. It was a hard hit. I didn't see it, but I could just assume from the incidents I've seen there before. But I'm going to disagree with you in saying that it is the right decision that CC Brain stayed out on circuit. If I were Dario, I would definitely come in
yeah,
because all
Dario
the
definitely, yeah, because he's on
but
10 lap
CC
olds.
Brain. Right, CC Brain with the 4 lap old softs on. That's not going to be too much of a difference to all of the fresh soft runners at the moment. And also, he's going to get a couple of laps just to save them under the safety car. So I think it was the right decision for him. It also might help Cedric get back into the fight where he's been just on his own the entire race. It must have been hard to keep motivation, but now it is his ticket back into the fight if he can catch up before we get going.
It's also helped the likes of Pat, Handler, Emotti, Compassion, and Lakitu, who've recently pitted onto the soft compounded tyres. They must be absolutely loving this right now. But Lakitu's probably going to have the most to worry about because he's got the prancing horse of Gonanen and Tomato right behind him as well. But for Gonanen probably didn't want that safety car. He's probably going to drop. Don't forget, he's got a 3-second penalty earlier on, plus 5 seconds. That is 9 seconds. That's going to drop him all the way down into 16th place in this race. If the gaps stay as they are, that is not what you want. So I'm a bit worried if I was Gonanen, but for everybody else, it's game on for these guys. I wonder if Dario is going to be going into the pits now. Nope, he stayed out. I wonder if he's learned his lesson and realised that he should have pitted, but it's too late now. If he doesn't stay out, if he did go into the pits, he probably would have lost more time. So he has to try and use what he's got and try and defend from these prancing horses, which are all on the soft tyres. This is and it's also gonna be a fight for the fastest lap as well. Who's gonna get fastest lap inside the top 10? It could literally be anyone. Who's going to get that extra point as well? I mean, I couldn't put it past them, but it'll be amazing to see a different winner. We've seen Will won, we've seen Toxic won as well. I do believe Faz almost came close to winning last week against Will, having a nice battle towards the end as well. Dario won in Italy, of course. So we've had 5 different winners, as well as Rafa, who won a lot of the races before he left, of course. So, you know, we could see another person add to the history books right now as well. Don't forget the F2 winner from season 24, IGK Gill. He's in F1 now. So, who knows? We may see CC Brain in the future go to F1 and absolutely dominate in a future F1 league around Japan, because we're probably going to see Gill do that tonight as well. So who knows what might happen. I think we could see the safety car come in his lap as pretty much everyone is caught up.
Yeah, Cedric now is back onto the train, but CC Brain is going to definitely be feeling the nerve. He's got 5 laps to make it work and keep ahead of all of the fresh soft runners, and of course the drivers that he was on the alternate strategy with, and of course Dario behind him. So he really does have to keep his nerve about him. It's not a guaranteed win, but we should see just at the halfway point of this straight if the safety car will come in or not. A lot more overcast now than it was at the start of the race, but now everyone seems to be backing off, it seems. Are we going to have one more lap on the safety car? No.
Yeah, usually the safety car point just goes into the middle of 130R when it says safety car in this lap. So CC Brain holding up the field quite a bit, weaving his tyres. So is Dario as well, then Pat and then Handler as well. CC Brain has got to nail that restart. I don't know how many penalties CC Brain has got, but I'm not going to have a look because I don't want to spoil it too much. Remember Italy, where we've seen a few position changes, but CC Brain has nailed that restart from Dario. It helped that Dario was on the mediums. That's why CC Brain was going to get a good launch into turn 1. How about everybody else? Handler also with a good restart. What about Gonanen on Lakitu? They're just not being able to make the moves as of yet. So the one that stayed on the sauce for a little bit longer have the one most to gain in this situation. Tomato's also a bit of time to Gonanen as well. Will is well on the back of this train as well. Maybe the podium could be slipped through their fingers, but it's going to be really hard for some of these guys to get past traffic. This is like the second race in F2. The ones who are used to finding it at the front are now fighting for the mid-pack of this race, and this could be very, very exciting as we head to the hairpin, as we've got Lakitu trying to defend from Gonan, and almost ended really, really bad for both of them, but luckily no damage there. But we can see Will looking really good. Tomato going to try and get past Gonan into the spoon curve. Oh, this is so close. Tomato almost running wide, and there's contact from Tomato, and he's spun. So he's got, I think, damage, from that as well. So he was on course to be winning this race, and now he's in last place of the finishers. I don't know who's a judge. Luckily, I'm not a steward and just a commentator. But yeah, that is I think Tomato just got unlucky there.
Yeah, no, you can't put the blame on anyone there. Unfortunately for Toxic Tomato, he came off worse. But I do think that was a racing incident.
Yeah, definitely.
From the camera angle that I had, it looked like he just turned a bit too tight, and then his rear left tire clipped the rear right tire of Gonan, and that pretty much just sent him into a spin, and off the circuit he went, and now in 17th position, trying to catch up, but it's looking unlikely, unfortunately, for the championship leader to get back to the points.
Dario doing really, really well in P2 on those medium tyres. A lot better than we thought so far. Meanwhile, we got another yellow flag, which is probably through to unlock her. But yeah, Dario still managing to keep Pat behind him, and I think it's probably due to that dirty air. And there was a few of you guys in the chat that were saying that maybe Dario did the right thing with staying out, because he had track position, and obviously it's really hard to overtake around here. So maybe it could be a saving grace for Dario, of course, because don't forget, if CT Brain has penalties, Dario could be on course, be taking his second race win of the season. And I did say, the Twitter account said it, I said it, he is a dark horse in this championship. He is in IGK for a reason. IGK is definitely a fast rising team at the moment, definitely going very, very strong. Some really fast drivers, Dario being one of them, and I think Dario could be one of the favourites here today to win. He's just got to try and get past CT Brain, but he's out of DRS range now, so it's going to prove to be even more tricky, as Pat Hadler and Emotti is within DRS range. As it's getting really dark around here. We may see a few drops of rain, but it probably will be a little too late, if anything, as Cedric has retired from the session then, from the pit lane. So that is his race over, unfortunately. But yeah, I wonder, due to the fact that these clouds are starting to thicken up, do you think we could see some rain?
Well, if we're going to see some rain, it's definitely not going to be enough to impact the tyre choices of any of these guys. But now that Dario is beginning to struggle to keep in the DRS range of CC Brain, that could leave him at the mercy of Pat, who's also seemingly dropping back just a little bit. So it might be at this point that the medium tyres aren't too bad in comparison. Meanwhile, there's Gonan and Will having a little scrap there. Will trying to go around the outside of the former race leader, hasn't gotten the nerve to do it. He's going to go around the outside now into Spoon Curb. He's going to take the position, move into 8th place ahead of Gonan, who still has a big handful of penalties that he has to serve, of course, at the end of the race.
Yep, 9 seconds, I believe, unless he's got more penalties to serve at the end of this race. I know Gonan's looking really racy at the moment, but he just can't afford to make many mistakes. He's still going to get some points out of this, which is better than none. So as long as he could, actually no, he probably will lose out on some points. So commentator's curse right there. He was on course to potentially getting a race win, and now he's down in 9th place. But Will in 8th place, around 3 tenths behind Lakitu. Kurak, meanwhile, has just got past Luke into 12th place. Luke and Kurak's running really, really well, having a really nice battle at this moment in time. And Faz is around about a second behind Greeny. I'm not sure about penalties, but if Faz gets some points, he can close up to Toxic and maybe even Will as well. So that will be really, really impressive if Faz could do that at these later stages of the race. We're already on the penultimate lap. We're still seeing some moves go on here as well. We could see a majority of these guys going on for their best result of the season if they can keep it up. Meanwhile, here goes Lakitu on Will on Lakitu, sorry, going side by side into the hairpin. Will is brave going for these moves at the moment, and he gets it done. Will up into 7th place. Greeny gets the move past on Gonanen for 10th place, 9th place. Gonanen is struggling right now at the moment. Will's next target is Compassion, and look at the way Will is providing the speed around here, heading into 130R. Meanwhile, Compassion is going to try and go around the outside. Please don't. Oh my goodness, he does. Another driver who goes around the outside. Oh my goodness, that was incredible from VRT Compassion, up into 5th place of this race.
Another time penalty coming up for Gonanen, and this is really going to be the final nail in the coffin. He just started the final lap, as they all have at the moment. So, yeah, really not good for Gonanen's race. It was going so well. Then the safety car pretty much ruined all of that for him. But Will still has his sights set on Iamotti at the moment. He's just 1.5 tenths back. But it does, yeah, it's going to be difficult to follow through the S's section. But somehow he's just holding the grip and he's holding his nerve throughout the entirety of this. He's got a strong... I was going to say he's got a strong will, but he is called Will, so I can't really say that. But basically, he's doing really well for himself in 7th position and could be higher. And I think Faz is off, and Kurax as well.
Oh no, so Faz is in danger, getting no points actually. Where was that? Was that past turn 8? It looked like it, and Faz is struggling on those softs now. So that is a real disappointment for Faz, but meanwhile, CC Brain has driven absolutely phenomenal. If he doesn't get a driver in the driver of the day pole, I don't know what to think. Moving around the outside into 130R earlier on in the race, that proved crucial to be ahead in the lead in the safety car period. And that's really helped him. I wonder if CC Brain has got penalties. We'll have to wait and see. Will going round. Jesus Christ. Will is trying to go for a move here, which he tries to anyway. CC Brain is going to come across the line. There's so much action going on the final lap. Is he going to win on track? Yes, he does. Pat takes P2 on penalties. Compassion gets 4 for all his orders, jumping all over the place at this moment in time. Nikitu in 3rd. Dario in 4th place. And we've just finished already. It was that close, but wow. CC Brain takes his first PSGL F2 win for a long time. And he definitely deserved that after that performance.
Yeah, up 13 positions and making moves left, right and centre. That was an incredible performance from the German there, and he deserves this win more than anyone. You could say the safety car helped him out and it basically gave him the win, but that does not mean anything because he is the one. At the end of the day, he takes the win, and whether or not it was through luck or not, he deserves it. So great performance from him, and it is an all-German podium.
Wow, that's insane. I've got to say, sometimes you have to have luck in league racing, and when safety cars prevail, you got to make the right decision. And CC Brain definitely made the right decision. He proved you right, and he proved me wrong, I've got to say. And fair play to Pat. Despite his 3-second time penalty, it was enough for him to get his best result in this league in a P2. His best result was a 6th place in Zandvoort, and he gets a podium here today. That's incredible. Well done to the Racing Point driver. That will probably definitely knock Racing Point off 10th place and into 9th place. Lakitu in 3rd, Dario 4th, Compassion with his best result in 5th place. Will in 6th, Handler in 7th, Emotti in 8th, Greeny in 9th. So both Ferraris, both Alphas in the points. And Tomato in 10th. 2 Williams in the points as well. Name changer, Benny, Faz, Luke. And I didn't see the rest of the orders, but yet again, Luke just not getting onto the mark. He hasn't scored a singular point. When will he get a point in this PSGL F2 season? I really hope he'll be very soon.
Yeah, hopefully he's got confidence around at China, but it really is not going to be helping him with that result today. He just needs to... there's no real explanation for it. Sometimes you just need a bit of luck, and maybe a bit more practice could do everyone a bit of good. So hopefully next race in China we could see a good performance from the Dutchman.
Yeah, and I do believe we are in China next week, which should be interesting. China is known for its wet weather, its changeable conditions, I've got to say, but trying not to jinx too many people, but hopefully it's dry, because it makes things a lot more interesting. I prefer dry races around China. I think wet races get a little bit boring on this game, but we'll have to wait and see, of course. But thank you guys so much for watching. It's been a lot of fun again to commentate for you guys. Thanks again, Dan, for joining me in the commentary box as always.
Yeah, it was great to be here, of course, for another incredible Grand Prix. Seems to be coming out in style every week, this F2 grid.
it's going to get even closer this championship, and make sure that you join us next week. But there's more PSGL action to come tonight with the F1 and F3 leagues happening right now on the PSGL channel, and they're in the middle of their qualifying sessions for that. So make sure you check both of those streams out. I'll definitely be watching them. Hopefully you will too. We'll see you next week for the Chinese Grand Prix. Have a good evening. I've been Jess Games 95. Dan has been V8 Field. We'll see you soon. Have a good evening. Bye bye.